anything that I have put out on YouTube, but it will be better once we get up out of this area. Hopefully it doesn't cut out though. That would be nice. We are over here in Oregon. It is early December. I want to say it's like December 5th, somewhere in there. I'm not for sure. Might be the day before or after. See that little hopping, jumping? That's that beautiful mini spool. I never mind dealing with it. Every once in a while, if it's dry out and I'm trying to parallel park in a tight spot, I can get a little annoyed with the mini spool. But I feel like it never really bothers me much. I think I get more smiles out of it than I do annoyance, right? But that's just being a true car enthusiast. I think some folks that are just more like stanced vibes, and they're not actually about, they're more about just stance and going to meets and shows, then I feel like, mini spool or locker is not the way to go. But if you slide whatsoever, then I think definitely do it. That goes without saying for most folks, but anyone that's newer to this setup, this platform or drifting or just cars in general, because I'm not going to sit here and have a certain niche age for my audience. I want to reach out to all viewers. I want to reach out to the young folks that are getting the S10s as their first vehicles, the folks that have had them for a few years, or the ones that are thinking about getting one, even the guys that have had them for years that were in the mini truck scene 20 years ago. Trying to reach everybody pretty much for the content, because I think that it's valuable and definitely entertaining, and not enough. We'll do a little slide, guys. There's just not enough content with these 2.2s, especially as a drift build. There's a few back in the day. If you really look on YouTube, if you really dig deep, because now YouTube's so flooded with a lot of content, which isn't a bad thing, not a bad thing whatsoever. There's a few 2.2 drift builds on there. I'll let you be the judge if they are tasteful or not as far as the modifications done to them. I think maybe one or two are, and then one or two are not. And then, like I've said before, there's literally just a handful of folks that really make content about these things. I'm sure there's a lot of guys behind the scenes that don't make content and race them, right? Like, there's a lot of folks that do, not a lot, right? It's niche, but there's folks that do like the class, like a 2.2 liter OHV class in like a Sunfire, right? On like dirt track. There is, classes where they do race. Not super common, but you can find it. There is some dirt tracks, I'd have to look it up, but I recall, dirt tracks back in the day having like S10 classes, and they would just be all like S10s out there, mini truck, ripping around the dirt track. And I remember there was a class where it was the 2.2s. I was going to pull over right here. I hit my blinker for a second. This car got mad behind me. I was going to go right here, but the connection's not. All right. I need to do a tire check like I was mentioning earlier, folks, because on Friday, whenever I threw the dent in the back of the truck, like I was saying, I was drifting for a good probably hour, and I need to do a tire check, especially that front passenger. I'm honestly kind of scared to check it, but I need to. I know there's a lot of folks that have had that thought process, right? You're like, oh, I need to check my tires, look at the wires, but you kind of just don't want to, and you want to ride it out. One thing I gotta say that's a blessing in the Pacific Northwest with the rain like this on a wet road. Ooh, that sunrise, folks. I'm gonna pull you out of the, should I pull it out the mount? No, I can get a glimpse of that here in a bit. But as I was saying, the wet roads is a blessing when you're running camber and stuff like that. You're trying to get the most life out of your tires, because You know, when you're low rubber or you're showing wires or what have you, running heavy camber and stuff, drifting, it keeps your tires a lot cooler and helps them from prematurely burning up as fast. You know, you're still going to get like that heavy wear. And I'm combating a uneven set of cut coils because I forgot to account for, and I should have known better, you know, the driver's side sag. I forgot to account for that when I cut the coils. I knew better, just I was doing a lot of shit that day and just kind of forgot about it, right? It is what it is, shit happens, kind of sucks, but I'm combating that and then uneven camber because I'm having clearance issues on the driver's side, you know, with the steering shaft and whatnot. And for the folks that aren't following the build, like I am running a hooker header Blackheart steering shaft for like a V8 swap, right? And I like it. It gives it a lot of clearance for up under there doing the camber, having it tucked in. I'm just gonna be patient, folks. I'm not in a hurry. It gives it more clearance, it looks good, and then the main number one reason I got it is to get rid of the rag joint, right? Because if you're doing real performance driving, rather it is just straight line drag racing, drifting, autocross, you 9 times out of 10 you're going to want to get rid of the rag joint. Very, very few folks are going to want the dampening from that for comfortability. You're gonna want the precise handling more than the comfortability of the dampening, because honestly, if your steering's halfway decent and your tires are balanced, you're not going to be dealing with rattling on your front end. You know, I mean, these things don't ride that damn rough. But I found a spot right here that has good connection. So we got one viewer, no comments yet, and that's all right. I'll hop out, show you the build if you haven't been following it. Oh, all right. Hey, that's fine. Okay, let's see. I have the suction mount here, but since we're gonna be chilling for a bit, I might hook up the tripod out there, show up under the hood, kind of see what the vibe is with that. But I know that we are gonna get some more views hopping out the truck, right? Of course, because nobody wants that POV I was doing. I was just having it like that so I can see the chat if I'm getting any comments, anybody watching. That's why I have it in that POV. But this is the truck. We are running HP tuners, Borla exhaust. That's not just for show. I'll get around to the damage here in a second, folks, for anyone that's going to be watching shortly. But this is it. Nobody's watching currently right now, but for anyone in the future that's going to be peeping this live, because it will be uploaded, this is the setup. And I'm not going to sit here too long. I do have shit I want to do this morning. I really enjoy sitting here chatting with you guys about your builds. This build, you know, helping each other out with information. Not that I need much information on my setup, not that I know everything, because I'm not ignorant like that, right? Just saying, you know, more so I like to help, you know, help folks with their setup. But I'm gonna get to the damage here in a second. Like I said, if you are interested what happened from all the drifting on Friday night, your boy's out there with a vengeance. I will say, you know, don't go out there sliding for, you know, an extended period of time while you are in the fields. If you are upset, you know, whatever, or you're just not giving a fuck, right? That's kind of something you got to remember to, you know, to keep in mind with your rig. If it's clean, not saying this one's super clean, but if you know, you get out there too risky, you start fucking your shit up. But this is the build. I'll pop the hood. I see one person's watching. If you want me to pop the hood, I will. I'm not sure if you're super big into S10s. I'm hoping that, you know, you're somewhat interested in them. Hey, that's all right. Hopping off. That's fine. That is fine. I'll pop the hood, you know, because I feel like popping the hood might get a little more views. You know, we're having people hopping in and out. It is shorter in the video. or in the beginning of the video, right? So I understand that, but we're gonna get this little tripod out and get the hood popped. Right, let's see. I hope nobody comes up fucking bothering me in this fucking van. This shit gets on my nerves. But we're gonna film. All right, we're gonna chuck her up in the mount, and then let's extend the. Sorry, folks. My bad on that. Have always getting calls and texts when I'm trying to do a live drives me nuts, man. Drives me nuts. No shade to the folks calling, texting me. It's just trying to get the live going. What year? It's a 2000, bro. It's a 2000. It's a 2.2 liter. Let me get on the other side. Don't mind the hanging shit there and the misaligned front bumper. I do drift this thing for real, so that's why it's not looking the prettiest with that bumper alignment, right? My core support's kind of screwed up. This is the setup, man. Ask any questions. I'm gonna pop it for you and show you. This is my second build on one of these. I built quite a few other rigs, but as far as drift builds, strictly I've done 2.2 S10s. This is my second one, like I just previously said. Ask any questions about it. It's a 5-speed, running HP tuners, tuning it myself. I'm not doing it at a shop. Don't mind this. The mount head came loose. It had broke. So I got to do a different mount setup. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that. But this is it, man. It's got a header in there, downpipe, cat delete, Borla Pro XS exhaust, larger throttle body thrown on there, the 56 millimeter. Some beefy 10 millimeter chunky wires, made in USA. Screaming Demon coils down there, the ignition coils, NGK iridiums on the ends of those. Let's see. Wow, that's sick, man. I had a 2000 S10. It was a 2.2, but I got into an incident with it. It sucks. Dude, so I can relate with you on that. I'm not going to get too off topic, but I will relate to you on that topic for a second. And I wrecked a K5 Blazer, and it wasn't my fault. I had a 15-and-a-half-year-old girl learning to drive with her parents pull out in front of me in a brand new Ford Taurus, and I T-boned them. I had a 85 K5 Blazer 4x4 lifted, 37 IROX lockers. I mean, it was sick. It wasn't like a super nice rig, but I mean, it was a wheeler, you know what I'm saying? I dailied it. Did a motor swap, tranny swap after I blew them up. It was a good truck. Yeah, and I can relate. I wrecked that thing, dude, and it hurt my feelings for a long time. So I relate to you on that, brother. Sorry to hear that. I'm hoping that it doesn't put you down too much in the mood as far as getting another one, man, because the market is still decent on these, and I feel like over the years, the more that gets sent to the scrapyard, they're just going to get, higher in price. I got a 4-door, 4-wheel drive S10, motor shot, but it's a good truck. Ooh, sick. 4-wheel drive S10. That's badass. I was doing a live, I think it was yesterday, and I was at Walmart, and I ran into one in the wild, and it had a crazy paint job. You have to peep that here later if you might be interested. It was kind of cool seeing, but I love those 4-doors. They're getting rare. And I almost got one, but they're expensive, man. So hang on to that sucker. Definitely get another motor in there, another 4.3. I'm sure that's what you got in there, and get her kicking, man. The 4-doors are comfy, dude. Something about the S10's interiors, especially the 4-doors, it's insane. Yeah, man, it was dark blue. That's the color of the one I was gonna buy, but they wanted $8,000 at a car lot for it, so I didn't pick it up because it had high mileage, but dark blue, that's awesome. I'm assuming it was that metallic dark blue. I wish I could show you a picture of it. Yeah, man, definitely. Maybe if you follow the chat and everything, you subscribe or whatever. You don't have to even subscribe, but I think you can leave pictures. Let's see, can you? No, that's on TikTok. So I'm on TikTok as well. You can still do pictures on there. But maybe I can figure out, maybe there's a way in the future videos I can set it up to where like the folks watching can drop a picture of their build. If that's possible, I'm going to learn how to do that. So in the future videos you could, because I'd love to see it, man. I'm definitely interested in your guys' builds. Let's see, I got mine for 800. Ooh, that's a steal, dude. That is a steal. Yeah, so personally, I paid 2,500 for this. I know that seems like a lot, but on the Pacific Northwest, you know, prices are going to be a little bit higher here than it would be like down south. And this one I wasn't going to modify. It did come with a matching color match camper shell too. But it came with 89,000 miles. And that's why I picked it up, you know, because I knew it was going to be reliable, good little rig. And it was completely stock pretty much. And I had it that way for almost a year. I told myself I wasn't gonna modify it. I actually took off like a crappy cold air intake off of it and some stuff, made it even closer to stock. And then, you know, I hit the reverse button and here we are. But it's in the works. Ask any questions if you are curious about anything. If there's any modifications you might want to, you know, do to your setup, if you're thinking about doing like a 2.2 drift build. I got it with 250,000 miles before I wrecked it, put another 50,000 miles. Dang, good mileage, especially for that money. That's insane. Like you do the mileage to, you know, the money ratio, that's insane, dude. Cannot complain. But anyways, looks like you hopped off the chat. That's cool. Peace out. I hope you follow some other videos. And we're just going to sit here. And here, we're going to put the tripod up. And just see what some folks say. If anyone hops in, is it on bags? No, your boy likes static, man. And that is coming from, you know, a broke boy budget build standpoint. But even if I had money, I definitely would not put it on bags. That's just me. But I like performance driving. Not that you can't performance drive with bags. I know that you can. That's just not my style. But I think bags on S10s are mad tight, dude. I think they're mad cool. Yeah, bags are definitely cool, man. Just not quite my preference. We might sit here and fix this. I might wait to get some comments or something. You know how this is, these always fall off. So I'm going to do that. Get something done that's somewhat productive, right? No matter how small it is, if you're at least getting something done, you can't do what you've got on your stuff, right? You can't get yourself up and not doing nothing on the weekend. Not sure if I'm going to do anything else this weekend on the truck. I might, and if I do, I'm going to film it. My header has been leaking on my downpipe for a few weeks. It sounds like trash, honestly, because I have a nice little catalyst system on there, so it sounds like, it's like, you know, the system's nice and tight. Of course, so I might mess with that later. So it kind of sucks where my tools are at and service is not good, so I'm going to bring tools to my trucks better and do it on the live. We'll see what we're going to do. I always keep a tool bag in the truck with trusty zip ties and a few hand tools. My bad. Okay, let's see. My dad has 93 square body S10 and he put a brand new engine and put a 380 in it with Corvette tires and rims. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that Corvette tire rim setup looks really good. I'm pretty sure I know the exact set of wheels you're talking about. They look real slick on there. I'm curious if they're like if they're polished all the way up or what color they are, if they're painted. And then let's see. And that square body, I gotta say, so I liked the square body originally way more than the second gen. That first gen S10, I liked it a lot more, and then this one's grown on me over the years. But I am, you know, real passionate about that square body look. You know, I like old square body Silverados, K5 Blazers. So I am very partial to those body lines, you know. But that's sick that you threw a 380 in there, a brand new 380. I bet that sucker just rips. I had some real pink zip ties I put on here last time. Then the other day when I was at my storage unit, I had grabbed, you know, one of the few bundles of zip ties I have. And now that goes together with shit on it.
I'll just air dam up a little bit more this valence, right? I have a bad habit about worrying about shitty drivers clipping the back of my truck at parking spots in a parking lot. So I naturally kind of pull up real close to the curb, and so that's, it's a given. I'm gonna fucking rip this valence off all the time. Kind of sucks just parking with the truck. No big deal. I need to drill some more holes in it. They're only like $40 online on like eBay. That's how much I pay for this one. But I'm gonna do a custom setup eventually once I do an intercooler and have it boosted. It's gonna be paint matched. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do carbon fiber or if I'm gonna do like fiberglass or what. Most likely I'll probably do a carbon fiber setup or something just to do some kind of stupid fun video late in the future, right? Just far down the line. But for some weight reduction and something like a one-off, something that folks are like, oh shit, I want to pop that. Well, that's what I'm doing. But I was gonna bring my Milwaukee drill with me, but I figured that most of these anchoring points aren't going to be fully ripped out on the valence, so I can kind of get away. And let me check the chat real quick, because I don't want to be missing comments and have folks head out if you did comment, right? Let's see. No, we don't have no new comments, and that's solid. Beautiful comment right here, folks. Beautiful comment. And the chat's not going to be too long, so I got my old lady. She just woke up calling. Right after I got out here filming. That's no issue. But I will be heading back home and take care of business. Got chores to do, dogs to walk. A nice day to go enjoy this beautiful sun. So only going to be out here momentarily, right? But I'm just in hopes of some more viewers, more subscribers, likes, comments, and just overall interaction in general with everyone that likes drift trucks, likes s10s, 2.2s, 4-bangers, OHVs, anything, just mini trucks in general. I think that we need to keep it alive, insure as much as possible, even if their budget builds low-powered rigs. They're still cool, they're still fun. You don't have to V8 swap your s10 to have fun and be cool with it. The goal is not to sit and be cool, you should be after impressing nobody really, unless you're trying to impress a girl, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Impress yourself is what I'm getting at. And that's what's important with these films, and just have fun with it, man. Because I don't care what nobody says, you ain't LS swapping your s10 for $800 unless you know someone to hook you up with some stuff, right? Just ain't happening. Just ain't happening. Got that valence up. Let me check the other side. Maybe hang up this one. So you folks know I'm not grinding, I'm not leaving the clippings around sitting guys on the ground. I pick that shit up, right? You folks do the same. Don't be trashy working on stuff and leaving a mess. But we're gonna check this and pull you out the mount. So the valence is tucked up now. Like I was saying, the alignment of the bumper is not the best. I got to fix that. I'm thinking of just pulling that fucker off and doing a custom carbon bumper because it weighs approximately 20 pounds. That is a remake bumper because I did smash it into something. I had to get a quick little cheap eBay brand new bumper. Same with like the valence. But with that being said, I think I want to, clean it up since it's pretty straight, right? It doesn't look straight while it's mounted up on the truck, but the bumper itself is straight. And I'm gonna just do a carbon fiber setup, right? I'm just gonna layer it, coat it, and do that. Do a custom one, because even if I'm sure you can get your hands on one, but what the hell would that cost online, right? That probably costs like $500+. But we got folks just hopping off the chat. It's cool. We'll get a little view at this rainbow for a minute. This might end up being probably the thumbnail on this, I'm sure. I'll let it auto clip it, and I bet money it'll probably pull this one. This is the damage, folks, from the other night of drifting. Oh, your boys over here hurt. Anyone that drives their rigs, they take pride in their driving, but it is what it is. It happens to the best of us. You can't be out there at drifting for over an hour, getting real sideways and not on a track, right? A surface that you're super familiar with, that's stable. It's gonna happen. But the bright side is she's even more of a drift truck at this point, right? That's how I'm going to look at it, folks, and we're going to be positive. We're not going to sit here getting our feelings over that BS. We're just going to slide her even harder next time. And I'm debating if I want to keep the roll pan on here. I like the look of roll pan, and I like the look of it without the roll pan. As you could tell, the mounts came loose on the bottom with that mishap I had with the spare tire the other day. I told some folks about, if you happen to catch that in the chat. I think that was on a live. I'm debating ripping that off and going bumperless, just for a few things. Obviously, a tiny bit of aero underneath. I feel like the air would wick out a lot better from the rear end, not getting caught on that bumper. You know, about 6 pounds, 8 pounds weight reduction, and then just that kind of different custom look. But I don't know though, because I like the look of seeing like the rear end and everything and the shock setup, and then I also like the look of it covered. Let me know what you guys think. But man, fire me up in the chat. Let's see what just happened. So, dude, what happened with the truck was Friday. Yeah, 2 nights ago, not last night, but the night before, dude. I was sliding for quite a while, and I was sliding with a vengeance, I'll say. I was in a crazy mood, and I was sliding it a bunch, and you know, you only get lucky for so long. I was lucky for at least an hour or so, hour and a half, and then you at some point you're going to find out where you can't have enough angle to bring the truck back, right? And I found that limit, and sadly that limit was right where like a concrete barrier was, and I thought I caved this whole thing in. I could have swore I would have bet money that this whole light was cooked. I could have thought I caved in the whole back of the truck. So this damage isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but happens to the best of us, you know. If you're actually sliding your rigs and you're not just cruising for looks, that shit's going to happen, you know. Any real drift rig that's getting slid around from somebody that's learning, because a lot of us are learning, you know, even the good drivers are, it's going to happen. But, you know, that's life. That's life. You can't get too butthurt. And this is just a budget build. It's not the cleanest truck to begin with, so I'm not stressing it too hard, right? Like, I'm cambered heavy, had to cut the inner of the fenders, you know, so it's not cutting my tires up. I've had to deal with that, especially with the gold wheels on there, the super wides. You know, just stuff like that. You know, the camper shell on here, having to do all this rust repair. Like, there was all holes drilled in this shit. I had to plug weld and fill and everything. I still have to hammer it out and do some Bondo and sanding. Still have to patch that up. You know, I ran out of welding wire. That's why that's kind of left like that. I ran out of welding wire, and then I was moving to apartments like the next few days, and I said, screw it. Ooh, look at that. That's from moving the camper shell off by myself. That's why it was fighting me to get off. Here, let's hammer that in, because that looks janky. And that's gonna, I know that's gonna catch my jacket sleeve, and just, even though my jacket's a POS, it's gonna rip it up even worse. So let's go to the tool bag. I always recommend, you know, tool bag and have your air compressor in the back. Of course, the tried and true, your best friend right there in any kind of modified rig. Let's get the old certified hammer out, folks. And yes, that is a proto. Let's get this proto hammer working. This body hammer is pretty nice. I'm not sure what model body hammer this is. I'm not sure if it is like 10 ounces or 12, but I think that should do. I mean, we can get, we'll call that good, right? Now a little more. And then we can use this for a little peening action. Wow, mine was manual as well. What a badass S10. Thank you. Can I see the interior? Yeah, I got you. You could check the interior out here. It's over here. Hope you're still in the chat. So I ripped the carpet out. It was a base model. So it had the rubber flooring, but it had, you know, the cut from the guy's work boots in there. And so I ripped it out. It's not like hardcore rust. I just got to wire brush it up. The Momo steering wheel, it's a fake. It's a knockoff. Forever Sharp mounting hub. Let's see, that was homemade in a pinch because I didn't think, not being a deep dish like drift wheel, it's a lot closer, so I had to make that work in a pinch. Glow shift pillar cluster, the pod cluster with the tachometer in there, because mine doesn't come with the factory tack, and mine's low mileage in my opinion, and I didn't want to swap out my gauge with like a high mileage cluster. Plus, it's like real clean and not beat up. Everything works, so I like that look. Plus, I'll do wideband and boost gauge. Let's see, everything else, we got, it's pretty much stock for the most part in here. We got, the fire extinguisher, and then I do have some badass 3-inch wide 6-point racing harnesses that are made by TRS. I got those for $100 on Facebook Marketplace from like a professional racer. They went out of date, and you know how it is with drifting. It's a lot less strict than certain types of class racing. And yeah, it was some cat from like England or some British folk. Like, he was a super cool guy, had some badass like light rigs. I forget what they even were. I'm not super big into Euro cards, like knowing on the models. But he hooked me up $100. I'm not going to get too off topic with those. And I'm going to mount them up in this seat, right? So my last Drift S10, I had Corbu fixed back racing seats, right? And they were all right. They were nice. But I think for a budget standpoint, I'm going to see what happens if I throw the 6 points in here with this and cinch them tight, and then see if it holds me in pretty glued to the seat. I think it will. But I have to run a harness bar. I'm going to get like a used harness bar on Marketplace for like $40 or something, throw it in the back and do them on that, right? Maybe now that the channel's kind of getting up there a little bit in followers, subscribers, I should say, I think that I might stand a chance at getting a harness bar, given to me for free for like a review to do on. So hopefully that's coming in the near future, and I'm going to mount those up. I've had them for months, haven't got around to it. How much are you pushing? I'm probably pushing 140 to the wheels respectively, and that's not joshing it up. Stage 2 clutch, lightweight flywheel, performance ignition system end to end, cold air intake. For the folks that haven't been watching, it is a real cold air intake setup. Like, I did hack up the core support, so as you can see, it's like a giant actual cold air. Normally there is a shield here, and this is normally mounted up, but the mounting bracket broke and the shield was rattling, so I took it out for now, because I still have to insulate it and everything and make it look better. I'm probably going to do a custom air cleaner box in there, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the line of just holding off because it's going to be turboed eventually, so that's probably going to be a waste of time, right? I took off the overflow reservoir, so then this box sits nice and low because it's heavy, so a little bit lower center of gravity. Somewhat of a trimmed bay look. Evap delete. This battery will be off of here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be running it to the bed of the truck. I think I would rather go lightweight racing battery. I forget what they are, if they're like a lithium ion. I forget what they're called, because they've changed the technology over the years, the types of the lightweight batteries that they're using nowadays. It's just way more advanced. Like, the 6-8 pound ones versus like a 30 something. I'm going to either put that up on the firewall or in the bed or behind the seat. I'm thinking would be kind of cool. But I don't want to run a bunch of heavy cable to the bed with this full-size battery. I don't know that that's the route I want to go. With that being said, though, if I do end up putting like a 6-inch sub in there or something just for a little bit of punch, I might keep a full-size battery and do that. Let me know what you folks think. But yeah, man, this is the setup. That was the wheels I was riding on. I didn't have a spare with me or a jack, and bad circumstances. I'm not going to dig into all the nitty-gritty details. I had to ride it out on a rim for like 15 miles and cooked one in their special order. Not that they're expensive or anything, but they took me 2 months to get. So in order to get another one, I had to just get, a Facebook Marketplace deal. And I came across these baddies. They were on an old hot rod. I think the guy said they came off like an old van, right? And I've seen them on vans before. They're appliance Diamags 14x7s. And they're dirty right now. But I have started. This side isn't really sanded much whatsoever. Just a little bit of a start. I knocked the rusty center caps off of them. But here, right? So I did like a 3-step, 4-step sand and a mother's polish. It's dirty right now, folks. Don't judge me on how bad my truck's looking with that. But they gleam, and I'm gonna use my calipers, get the exact size on here, the depth, everything, and find a center cap that says BBS. And if I have to take it to a shop to get them turned and machined down or something, I will. I don't want to. Hopefully I can find some that will fit perfect. Future shit, we'll see, because I might just go back with the Steelies, because I do like a super wide stance. But you know how that goes with camber, right? You run into clearance issues like this. I had to chop this up and hammer it in to make this fit because it was cutting tires. But these are the old gold JDM lug nuts. Those are some quality ones, but they're kind of fading by now. You know how that goes with the anodizing on aluminum. But yeah, ask any questions. I think I briefly mentioned, the HB tuners. I'm tuning myself without a wide band, of course, like I showed. So I'm not optimally tuning. I could get way more power, but I've definitely got a big power bump, and I'm still playing it safe. It is running rich, and I am going for pops and bangs. That's the aftermarket mirrors I got on here. I recommend those to anybody. Even if it's your daily driver and you're not going to do any performance mods, I would consider getting this style mirror. So these are an old school one that's kind of hard to get. They're out of production, but you can get a similar knockoff that looks almost identical. And they have one other one where there's like a gap between here, which they look cool, and I think that's good for aero. But speaking of aero, and what I was going to talk about is you don't have so much wind whipping in your face, especially on the driver's side, right? So with those big, flat, goofy ones that fold back, which is the only downside of these, is they don't fold back. Those whip so much wind on the highway because they're flat and they're big and goofy, right? These are aerodynamic and sharp, and the wind just cuts right through it. So it literally feels like the truck has a little less drag, because it obviously does, but you feel like you can almost feel it on the highway, like you're just not getting that turbulence. And of course, you have your window cracked or down. It's annoying with that sound whipping. And, talking about obnoxious sounds on the S10s while we're at it, folks, modifications. The E-fan mod is a big one on these 2.2s. I recommend get that electric, or get the mechanical fan off. It gets rid of that work truck sound, that kind of roaring, that just winding, fan noise. It's just like it's a not attractive sound when you want to hear your induction from your cold air intake and then your exhaust tone. You want to eliminate anything that's gonna put any obnoxious noise in between that, right? And it cleans it up. It's safer. And I'm a guy that likes old school. Like, I like my metal, I like mechanical, but we have to be real. A quality E-fan, you can't beat it on a setup like this. Any kind of parasitic draw you can get off a small motor, you're gonna feel it. Eventually I'm gonna probably TIG up my own aluminum intake one of these days for a cool video. I don't have a TIG welder, but I do know how to weld and stuff like that. So in the future, hopefully I can do a sponsored video with like a welder set up. I'll buy my own material and fab something custom up like that, right? Something that maybe I can write all the dimensions and the whole entire process. I can film it in depth to where folks can copy it for their build, or something very similar if they want. I'm not too worried about it right now because I like the lightweight aspect of the plastic, and then I don't get any heat soak basically. I mean, you have 0 to none heat soak on plastic compared to, an alloy, aluminum, not just an aluminum, but you get what I'm saying, a metal intake. So I'm not going to ramble on about that crap too much. That's the teardrop cut exhaust. I'm still needing to trim a little more off the bottom so it looks a little sharper. I never got around to that, but I had that in and out a bunch of times when I was tacking it up to make sure it fits up under the truck, doesn't hit nothing, and it is a nice fit. It doesn't look as nice, of course, because of the shit with the roll pan because of the other night, but it fits perfect, It doesn't rattle on anything. Ask any questions about the build if you guys are curious. If you're curious where it's going, or if you have any recommendations for, modifications on your rig, let me know what you're working on. I'm going to be rolling out of here before too long, folks. I got some stuff to do, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. So... but yeah, just ask any questions. I only got the front bend and hook. I got that on Marketplace. If anybody knows, they know. Those are out of production, and they're numbered. Sadly, I got it from a guy with a sick Integra, and he had the one on the back, and I wasn't gonna dare ask him to part with it. I was happy to have that brand new with the box and everything, with the authenticity card and shit. So yeah, and that was a score too. That was like $20, I think. You can't argue with that. Because, you can't just get them anymore like on eBay or Amazon, that polished one. It was a super limited amount of them made compared to the rest. And I know you could replicate it by polishing your own up, but who wants to spend the time to do that shit when you could just get lucky and get one like that, right? But I'm thinking of pulling the tailgate back off of here. It takes less to initiate the truck to get it sideways. It's easier on the tires, easier on the drivetrain, everything overall. Having an extra 30 pounds off the back, I think I might do that. I'm gonna come up with a better system on mounting my spares. I either run like a ratchet strap or just like a rope through them, right? so I don't have to worry about those flying out. But I'm thinking of maybe doing almost like a pre-runner style setup to where they stand vertically and they're in a mount. But I may have them where they lay flat like this in a mount. I'm not sure. Let me know what you folks think. But I want kind of like a semi-permanent mount that I could maybe unbolt if I want it out of my way for doing something in the bed if I need the room. But I want a permanent setup almost, so when I'm going to the track or dailing, like I always have some spares, because I've learned, you know, cooking one of those rims, it's not a good feeling not having a spare. So that's coming in a future video. I'm debating if I want to do a grill headlight swap. I'm definitely probably going to do a bumper swap eventually, but like I mentioned before, if anyone's been watching when I mentioned it earlier, I'm going to do probably a carbon fiber setup with the intercooler and stuff once it's boosted. So I don't want to backtrack and waste money on something that I'm going to take off in a year or two, right? So except the exception of a few things like that cold air intake, obviously that's going to be coming off once I'm turboed and stuff like that. And I probably will end up giving that away to a viewer or something, someone that's maybe semi-local to me that could pick it up. Once I'm boosted, I will probably give that away. Same with like the header probably. At that point in time with the channel, I'm going to be up there to where I will gladly, you know, hook somebody up with a little starter kit for their drift truck, right? Because I like helping people out. That's what the car community is about, is helping each other out. But ask any questions about these mods, how much I paid for them, if you think it's worth it, what you want to do, what's your plan with your builds, because this ain't all about me, right? I'm not one of those people that's so involved in myself. That's all I care about. I care about your guys' opinions, your builds, what you're doing. You know, I'm just one of the bros over here. I'm not just some guy with daddy's money that's full of himself, you know, that just has a YouTube channel. I'm starting small, doing my own thing, and good vibes, nothing but good vibes. But anyways, if I don't get any comments or interaction here soon, I'll just hop off. It's all cool. I do appreciate anybody watching, whoever did like, I really appreciate it. Here, let's get this mount set up, get a view of the truck while I'm doing this. So you're not sitting here with me fumbling the camera around, right? And I'm gonna get one of those little gimbal things, whatever they're called, to where, you know, it holds it steady and has like a good view, you know. I'm definitely gonna get one of those and try it out. I will be doing a sponsor video on one of those in the near future, I am very certain. But just ask any more questions if y'all want before I hop off. If I don't get anything else before I come back to the phone in a minute, then I'm just gonna end the live. But I appreciate all y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, let's see. All right, folks. Well, we are gonna get rolling up out of here. I appreciate y'all, and I will catch you in the next one. And there will be some more interesting content coming very soon. So, you know, stay looking at the page. Peace.